Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Dibyendu Chatterjee and you are watching my channel Studying with Dibyendu. Our today's topic is from Indian Constitution and the topic is the historical background of Indian Constitution. It is an inseparable part of Indian polity. So at first we have to know what is polity. Polity is a subject or is the subject which tells us about the forms of the government. And there are three organs of our government. The three organs are legislature, second one is executive, and the third one is judiciary. Legislature, it makes the law. So the work of legislature is to make the law for our country, and executive, its main work is to implement the law. So its work is implementation. And the work is judiciary to interpret the law. So its work is interpretation. So legislature makes the law, executive implements the law, and judiciary interprets the law. So who makes the law in India? Parliament, definitely. Parliament makes the law in India. The Parliament of India consists of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and the President. So the Parliament has two houses. The Lok Sabha, it is lower house, and the Rajya Sabha, it is upper house. That is why it is called bicameral legislature. So Indian Parliament or Indian legislature is bicameral in nature because it has two houses. One is upper house, that is Rajya Sabha, and one is lower house, that is Lok Sabha. Now we are coming to the next point, that is executive. The executive head of the country or the executive head of India is the President. And there is a council of ministers to help the President. So next Council of Ministers, and the head of the Council of Ministers is the Prime Minister, PM. So the PM is the principal channel to link between the Parliament and the President. Now we are coming to the judiciary. Judiciary, it is an independent body. It is an independent body in our country. That is why it is called, or the judiciary is called, custodian of Indian Constitution. So this is the overall picture of Indian government. Now we are coming to the form of the governance. So now we will know about the forms of the government. There are two kinds of government. One is federal and the other one is unitary. Federal government, it is also called three-tier government. Okay, so it has three sections. One is center, state and villages. Center, state and villages, and each of the bodies has its own power. Okay, I mean villages means local self-government like panchayat, municipality, etc. And unitary means single government. There is only center, no state, no villages. Okay, so there are two kinds of government. One is federal government and the other one is unitary government. In general time or in normal time, there runs a federal government in India. Like center works its own work, it runs in its own way, and state, it has also its own power to work, and the villages like panchayat, etc., this is the local self-governments, they have their own power to work. They are all independent. They are all independent government. And unitary government, in the case of national emergency or at the time of national emergency, there runs a unitary government in India. So we can see two types of government in India. That is federal government in normal time and unitary government in the case of national emergency. National emergency can be undertaken at the in case of or internal disturbances or external aggression. So that is why India's government is called quasi-federal. Quasi-federal. Quasi means half or semi. Why it is called quasi? Because we can see two natures of the government. Here in India, we can see two natures of the government. One is federal nature and the other one is unitary nature. Federal nature, we can see it in normal time, and unitary nature, we can see it in the case of national emergency. Okay, so that is why Indian constitution or Indian government is called quasi-federal government. So this is the forms of the government. Now move on to the next point. Now we come to the constitution. So at first we have to know what is constitution. Constitution is nothing but some principles on the basis of which a government runs. What is constitution? Constitution is some principles on the basis of which a government runs. And Indian constitution is the largest written constitution in the world. Now we will know about some acts of British India which were responsible to make Indian constitution. Now we will learn about those acts which are responsible to make Indian constitution. First one is Regulating Act. (1773). By this act, the post of Governor General was created and the judiciary is separated from the executive. And also, the Supreme Court of India was established in 1774 in Kolkata, Fort William. So by this act, the post Governor General of Bengal was created for the first time, and judiciary was separated from the executive, and the Supreme Court was established in 1774. Next one is Government of India Act, GOI 1858 AD. By this act, the post of Governor General of India was abolished and the new post was created, that is Viceroy of India. The first Viceroy of India was Lord Canning, and also he was the last Governor General of India. Next one is Council Act 1909. It is also known as Morley-Minto Reforms Act. It introduced a separate electorate for Muslims. It introduced a separate electorate for Muslims. Now we will move on to the next point or next act, that is GOI, Government of India Act 1919. This is also called Montagu-Chelmsford Reforms Act. By this act, diarchy system was introduced. Diarchy system was introduced, and by this act, separate electorate for Muslims was introduced. Next, Government of India Act 1935, and this is the most important act. The maximum part of Indian Constitution, I mean to say more than 75% part of the Indian Constitution has been borrowed from this act. So 1935 Indian Government of India Act. By this act, bicameral legislature was introduced. Next, PSC was established. In 1920, PSC 1926 in the recommendation of Peel Commission, but in this act, the provision of PSC in the state was also introduced. Emergency provisions, etc. These are the provisions of this Government of India Act. Now we will come to the next point. We will discuss about some important years which were also responsible to make the Indian Constitution. Especially, we will tell about the year of 1928. Motilal Nehru Committee raised the idea of separate Indian Constitution for the first time in 1928. So 1928, it is also a very important year because Motilal Nehru Committee raised the idea of Indian Constitution. Now 1929, in Lahore session of Indian National Congress, demanded Purna Swaraj. In Lahore session by INC. So INC demanded Purna Swaraj in Lahore session in 1929. In 1930, Jawaharlal Nehru started the Purna Swaraj movement on 26 January in 1930. Next, 1934, there is Purna Swaraj movement. Purna Swaraj movement on 26 Jan. Okay. In 1934, M.N. Rao raised the idea of constitutional assembly. M.N. Rao So in 1934, M.N. Rao raised the idea of constitutional assembly, and in 1935, INC officially demanded the idea of constitutional assembly. Next year, 1938, in the year of 1938, Jawaharlal Nehru declared that the constitutional assembly must be formed by the Indians only, without foreign hands, and the members of the Constituent Assembly would be elected from the provinces. Now let's come to the next year, 1940. British government accepted this proposal, and it is known as Augusta Fund. But later it was rejected. Now come to the next year, 1942. In the year of 1942, Cripps missions arrived in India. Cripps mission arrived in India in the year of 1942 to review the constitutional status, to make or to prepare Indian Constitution, and Cripps mission recommended to make Indian Constitution after the Second World War. The time period of Second World War was 1939 to 1945. So that Cripps mission recommended to prepare Indian Constitution after 1945. That is why it was rejected by the Muslim League, and Gandhiji declared it as a post-dated check. Now move on to the next year, and it is the most important year, 1946. Cabinet Mission Plan. Arrived in India in 1946, and it was the most important year. In this year, Cabinet Mission Plan arrived in India, and this mission plan recommended to make Constitutional Assembly to prepare Indian Constitution. On the basis of this mission plan, Indian Constitutional Assembly was formed. So now we will learn about Constitutional Assembly. Constitutional Assembly. There are 389 members in the Constitutional Assembly, out of which 296 are from provinces and 93 from princely states. So there are 389 members are in Constitutional Assembly. 389 members are there, and out of 389 members, 296 members were elected from the provinces and 93 members were from princely states. They are actually nominated. Here I am writing it. Nominated and direct elected. Now, out of 296, 292 members are actually from provinces and 4 members are from British Chief Election Commissioner State. So 4 members were from British Chief Election Commissioner states and the 4 states were Chief Election Commissioner states were Delhi, Coorg, Ajmer and Balochistan. These are the 4 British Chief Election Commissioner states. Now we will come to the result of direct election. As we had discussed before that 296 seats were directly elected from the provinces. So now we will discuss about the result of direct election. Result of direct election 1946 year. 296 total seats are 296 for direct election, out of which 208 seats are owned by INC, Indian National Congress. 73 seats are owned by Muslim League. And 15 seats are owned by independent state. These are the result of direct election. Out of 296 seats, 208 seats are owned by Indian National Congress, 73 seats are owned by Muslim Leagues and 15 seats are owned by independent states. So we have completed the first part of the historical background of Indian Constitution. In the second part, we will discuss about various meetings and various committees of Constitutional Assembly to make Constitution. So, thank you.